If you get to do what you really want with your time, that's true wealth. I struggled with not having a structure. My curiosity was zero. I was so tired because I tried to do too much. At a certain point, I started viewing life as a video game. Whenever I would come home, I couldn't wait for the next time I would leave.
Welcome to Where She Builds,
the podcast where two globetrotting solopreneurs share the real journey of building a life and business on the move.
I'm Shandi, an online personal trainer helping people feel strong anywhere in the world.
And I'm Anna, creator of Your Travel Friend Anna, a global community and go-to resource for those wanting to live a fulfilling and culturally curious life.
Thanks for being here.
Let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Where She Builds podcast. My name is Anna, joined always by my friend and partner and traveler, Shandi. Hello, Shandi, from I don't know where.
I'm in Guatemala right now. So hello from Guatemala.
Wow.
And where are you, Anna?
I'm still in Palermo. I say still with joy. This will be almost all of season 3. I will be here. So
wow.
Get used to some consistency on my side and some change from Shandi.
Consistency from me.
Yeah, for once.
We're switching.
100%. It sounds so exotic to hear you're in Guatemala. What is life like there right now?
Honestly, it was a little bit chaotic. We got here on Sunday, Monday, something like that. Okay. And we took a bus from Belize to Guatemala, and it was supposed to be a 5-hour bus ride, turned into an 8-hour bus ride, as it does when you're traveling. Very bumpy.
Wow.
Very much a lot of not funness. But then we got here and we thought that we were going to find our Airbnb very quickly. Couldn't find it. The address on the Airbnb wasn't good. So Pat speaks very good, decent Spanish to get around, but not enough. Like, we didn't have anything like SIM card wise to call anybody. So we're like, oh, how do we do this? And some guy just pulls up on his motorbike and he was just like, oh, do you need help? And we're like, okay. He looked trustworthy. So we're like, okay, sure. Like, yeah. And he's like, I'm a tour guide. And he pulls out his badge to show us that he's a tour guide. And we're like, oh, okay, perfect. We looked at it. Sure. So we're like, yeah, great. So he showed us, he was like, he called the Airbnb guy from his phone. And he was like, these guys can't find their place. Can you help them? Like, can you come and pick them up or whatever? Anyways, sweetest guy ever. He was able to help us find our Airbnb. And then we met our Airbnb host here, and also very, very sweet. I'll save you all the stress with that too, but it was good. And then turns out the little tour guide drove past here to make sure that we got here okay. And then we actually ended up going on a tour with him on Wednesday. So yesterday.
No way.
Yeah. So it was such a sweet little, like, we met him on the street. Awesome guy. So sweet. And then we're like, okay, well, you're a tour guide. Take us on a tour. And so we went with a big group of people yesterday to Tikal, which was really great. So really sweet. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought this story was going to go so differently. So, because I don't know anything about Guatemala, just to preface. I don't know what the tourism situation is. I don't know if it's like you can get scammed easily. I'm making really broad assumptions. But when someone just like pulls out a tour guide badge, I've had experiences where they just made it at home and laminated it and put it in a keychain. So I thought you were going to get scammed.
It could have gone both ways.
It sounds like he was legit and he was your guy. And so check mark for kind people in your arrival.
Honestly, even with our Airbnb hosts, like, there was a couple of instances where things just did not go our way that day that we were traveling here, and it was a lot of stress. But everybody that we talked to here, they were so helpful. They helped us find some ATMs. One didn't work. I got charged for it. Was not a good thing. So then we tried to find another ATM, and our Airbnb host drove us from one ATM to another to make sure that we got enough cash for where we needed to be and to get dinner and everything. Like, the sweetest people here. So 100%, if Guatemala is not on your radar to travel, put it on there. It is such a cool place so far, and we've only been here for a few days, but I love it.
Oh, what kind of currency do they use?
Quetzales, I think it's called.
Their own.
Yeah, so it's about, I think, euro-wise, I'm going to butcher this, I think around 10 quetzales is around €1-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. But,
okay.
Yeah. So,
and how's Wi-Fi there for working?
Knock on wood, so far so good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, well, we're recording. We'll test it today.
We'll see. No, all the calls, the workout calls have gone well, so it's good. And that's always the thing with when you're doing like a workcation, right? When you're traveling and
Yes.
working, and you have to make sure that the Wi-Fi is good, and you have to make sure that the space is okay as well. So there's lots of added costs that normally, like if you're staying in a hotel or a hostel, for example, you don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi being fine, and you don't have to worry about the setup being good. But when you're working and having calls, that's something that you have to kind of keep in mind and pay a little bit extra for. So that's also something that we are working around and making sure that we've got handled as well.
Yes, yes. It's something that when you aren't used to, you both, again, very experienced travelers, you've been a lot of places, but you have been in your home base or going to comfortable places where you know you have environments and Wi-Fi and such. So just to be thrown back into we didn't think about us both working at the same time, and we didn't think about the Wi-Fi handling two people trying to have calls, and this kind of these tiny components that really make a difference as you're moving around and traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. All the fun stuff of traveling. Love it.
Yeah. And working while you traveled. Yeah,
Yes.
again, to clarify,
Yeah.
to be the one that does that. So we had a very kind of, I don't know how we can say what we just talked about before we press record, like a mini moment. I was like, why are we pressuring ourselves when we talk so much about being our own boss and having our own flexibility, and our jobs allow this looseness of how we want to live our life? And so Shandi and I, more on my end, but it seems to be matching right now because of your tight schedule, is we both texted, oh, I'm just setting up for the podcast before we came to hit record. And I thought, I'm always on time starting to set up when we set our time. Like if we're going to record at 2 p.m., I'm always on time for 2 p.m. I've never been late for that. What I'm late for is I'm not equipment set up at 2 p.m. So then I thought, why are we why don't we just agree that 2 p.m. is the start of setup time? Text each other just to know that, hey, I'm alive, I'm setting up, I'll be on the call in a moment. But dude, we're our own boss. Like there's no rules.
Might as well take advantage of it, right?
So the new rule is whatever time we have scheduled is the start of the setup time. I don't know how this will apply to guests though. Maybe we have this, it's about communication. We can communicate with them about expectations and check in with us. We'll hit it when it happens.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We got it.
Any exciting other things happening? How's working from where you are and planning programs? And you said you had a bus tour and you had a tour day. So there's definitely different responsibilities and time commitments. How's it all working out?
Yeah, finding that balance. I feel like every week is the same week. It's like, oh, this week is crazy. Next week will be fine. No, it's really, what I've noticed was the difference. Let's say we haven't been to our home base in, it's going to be a month and a half already since we haven't been back to the Netherlands. So first in Canada, it was really, there was a lot of lounging time. So it was more of just spending time with people, but not working so much. So it was a lot of sitting, playing card games, those kind of things. Here, it's like go, 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 go. So we're either working or we're touring around or we're walking around or we're going out doing these things. So there's not a lot of downtime here, which I'm noticing is getting a little bit much sometimes. So yesterday, like we went on the tour and we were planning on working in the evening. And there was a couple nights in a row already that we worked until 11 o'clock. So yesterday we were like, okay, no, laptop shut. We're done. Let's just go to sleep. And we both fell asleep at 7 p.m. last night.
Oh my gosh. 7 p.m.
Yeah. And
what time? What's like a normal? Give us like, are you at 9 p.m.? You guys are, no, you just said you were working
like
until 10 some nights.
Yeah. 10:30. Yeah. Yeah. And then we woke up Pat woke up earlier this morning, but I woke up at 6:30. So I slept a long time. I was very tired.
6:30 is for sleeping?
Yeah. Got a lot of clients, Hannah. Gotta make time.
Forgive me. I need to address that you are on that side of the world, and so most of your meetings, of course, you're talking to me, and it's 8:30 or something.
9 o'clock. Yeah.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, but I've already had 2 sessions, right? I'm like, go, go, go. And no coffee.
Ding, ding, ding. What?
I know. That's
one
downfall.
My coffee downstairs. I'm just thinking about it.
No, that's one downfall so far. We're in Flores right now in Guatemala. I can't say that the coffee is super great, and it makes me a little bit sad. I've noticed that I've become kind of a princess when it comes to coffee, and I need to stop being like that. But I'm just like, oh, a good cappuccino in the morning, but
It's
it's
not
not.
good. Is it burnt tasting?
Burnt, or they add a lot of sugar and like dense milk to the places that we've gone.
Oh,
So it's like super, super, super sweet and it doesn't taste
wow.
like coffee at all. But we're adapting. So now I've just drinking a lot of water and it's fine.
Is there tea?
Um, I haven't really looked at tea, to be honest. I'm not a big
If
tea
there's not
drinker.
coffee, we're just gonna do jumping jacks to stay awake all day.
But it's kind of fun because maybe I jinxed myself because during our podcast the last time I was saying that, oh, I want to think about the way that I vocalize things. So not that I need coffee, but I want it. And so now I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need coffee.
You just want coffee, but
I
you
just want
can't
it.
get it and you need it.
Exactly. But honestly, first world
Wow.
problems. Yeah. I should
I
not be
can
complaining
say
about that.
in honestly a very opposite way. Of course, Italy is huge coffee culture. And today at a cafe, I ordered a matcha latte because I was having the girl who I've been living with. We've lived together for a month and a half. So I was like, let's have a roommate kumbaya before
Yeah.
you leave. And I felt so guilty ordering a matcha latte in such a coffee culture when I would drink a cappuccino or something. It just, I don't know. It's just funny, but I can get it in every street corner here and you can't get what you want.
I'm very
Maybe you
jealous.
just need to find the right order. What about an Americano? And then you add your own milk.
I'm sure that there's possibilities, and we're staying more outside of Flores, so in Santa Elena. And so it's like a 15-minute walk into Flores where they have more touristy things. So they would be able to have like cappuccinos and stuff. But it's just with the work and everything, we start work at 6:30. So nothing is open at that time. And then our calls don't end until around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then we have catch up to do. So there's not a lot of time to go out there and then come back. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not complaining. It's just something that we have to adapt to. And when we're in our next destination, it should be better too, because it's a little bit more touristy, located around a bigger place, bigger city. So it should be fine.
I like the way that you're describing it. You acknowledge that it's a comfort of yours. It's something that you want, but not demanding it. But you understand you're in a culture where coffee is made differently and that, it's just, you can't demand. You're not in your home country or your own
No.
home base. So keeping expectations realistic. But I am proud of you for not having coffee. I think I would still drink that just to get a kick.
No,
Bravo.
it's adapting. And I had quite a bad headache the other day because I didn't have any coffee, but now we're fine. So
Okay, so
it's good.
withdrawal symptoms are over.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, Shandi.
What a
make me
time.
laugh sometimes.
What a time.
Wow. Interesting.
And
Yeah.
what is going on with you? What is life like day to day?
It is busy. Somehow every day is so full here. But one thing I've really been trying to do in the last week, I always try and think in our Chitty Chats what's kind of happened in the last week. And I'm really trying to time block myself better and also stick to it. So especially end times of things. So even as we join this call together, we have an hour planned. I'm the one who always talks more. I acknowledge that. But to really respect that, because if I have extra time, I just trying to build in some space to be a tourist Anna, alone time Anna, this kind of idea. So things like, hey, I'd love to run with you, but once the run is over, instead of just casually starting to have a coffee conversation and it's 2 hours later, which is part of Sicilian culture. And I love that. But at some point it's like, okay, it is a weekday and a work day. And I've got a commitment of things in person here at the community helping with, and then also online. So I can say right now, I feel a bit behind with online. There's new projects that are coming into my sphere. And I'm also almost done Marie Kondoing this whole co-living though.
Yay.
And if no one knows who Marie Kondo is, you can find her special on Netflix. This is not an advertisement. But basically, she's a Japanese woman who created this theory that if the item does not spark joy, you should get rid of it. And so I joke that I'm the Canadian Marie Kondo because I love organizing. So I have I'm halfway through one of the last spaces, which is an outdoor space that kind of coincides with things that are inside in the housekeeping, cleaning, and trying to make that system a bit more efficient. But Last week on Sunday, fun Sunday, 5 hours, we cleaned out the second co-working space, which was like a time capsule for some people. And for me, I was like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. I have no attachment. That's why it's perfect. We don't need 2,000 staples, you know? Like, times have changed. Things are a little digital now. The best part was Monday. It wasn't at the same location. And a coworker, I can say, someone in the community here, the external community, texted me and said, wow, it looks really good. And this is a person who does not hand out compliments. You know, they love to give themselves compliments, but not to others. And I was like, wow, if he's texting me, there's a difference.
Wow. See, and that is like, that is your super strength though. You are so good at finding those small details and making things look cozy and just making things feel more at home, right?
We're at home, and something that's really come into it is communication too. And it's very interesting because everyone's messing with me and making fun of me that I label everything. I don't know if we talked about this on the last our last episode, but they're joking like, oh, Anna, if you don't put a label on your arm, you won't know it's your arm. And okay, I get the humor. I'm a bit of an over labeler. The reason why is when you're in a shared space, I could say even, I don't know if you and Pat experience this, is if you label something, then there's a consistent communication that whoever is in that space knows how to use it, instead of them having to message me or message the owner and say, where can I put cups? Now we're getting distracted having to answer this message and can't continue our own work. Yes, that interaction could be really beautiful, but ultimately, how can we all respect the space better, know where things belong, communicate better? So I'm going to keep labeling.
Well, but that's also nice though, because if you're in a shared space, if you constantly have to try to figure out where things go, it doesn't feel as cozy either, right? Whereas if you know where things go and where you can grab them and all those kinds of things, then it feels more like your space.
Maybe maybe I am. I know I'm an overthinker. So when I've been in a hostel too, and I've wanted to help empty the dishes or something, I'm like, where does everything go? And then I feel this, I hope I helped by putting in the right place. Things are labeled. People know where to put it. And again, just that feeling of like consistency, home, everyone can do their part and make it clean and just we can focus our attention somewhere else, because that's a really efficient system.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's awesome. That's awesome that you can bring that strength and that skill set to the area that you're staying.
That's a theme. It's a theme for 2026 is that my micro eyes are a super strength.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, it's fun to be positive about it and see it as a strength. And
absolutely,
we'll keep you updated on what other things are happening here. But yeah, life is busy. I'm running once a week, keeping that.
Good.
I'm trying for 2, but depending on the schedule, I have a friend visiting this weekend. Another friend who's going to be co-living here is coming. So it just isn't working that way for twice a week, but once a week it is happening, and I'm quite proud of it.
Beautiful. Anything is better than nothing, right? And that's
great.
And
Shandi, I'm also looking at trying to get us bibs for the Berlin half marathon, just putting it out there. We talked about it last week. If anyone's listening and knows how we can get one, because I know people are selling their bibs already. I just know it. Some people are like, what did I sign up for? And they've already canceled. So I'm trying to get in the WhatsApp groups. You said you wanted to run a half.
I did. I didn't say when.
End of March?
Girl, I haven't ran since November, but that's fine.
However, if you don't train in V5, I know you could do it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I know you could do it. Just naturally, you are an athletic person. You are an active person. How painful it's going to be is the question. But if you can do 16 kilometers as fast as you did, I think we can handle it. You could do it right now. It's going to be more enjoyable if you train some more.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll look at maybe starting to train soon.
Okay,
we'll circle back to that.
She's panicking, putting it in her calendar already.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just let Shandi, what's the word? Not maneuver. What's that word? Anyway, you'll think about it.
Help you.
And while she thinks about it, we have our first guest episode of season 3. And this guest, we are breaking up the conversations into 2 parts, as we've been talking about. And this one's very interesting because we actually did previously record it in 2025, last year. That's crazy. In preparation for season 3, and just the way schedules worked out, we can say we had a little bit of a boo-boo in our time zone scheduling. So it is actually a solo interview episode. Anna, myself, and our guest are talking. Let's get into the conversation.
Let's do it.
Today's guest you may have seen on your Discover page talking about their most recent trip and the unique findings and discoveries of their destination. He's a lot to say after visiting over 60 countries, according to his very well-rated Couchsurfing profile. But before we dive into his hacks for traveling on a budget and content creation in part 2, we're dedicating this conversation to getting to know Slava as an individual. So Slava, welcome to the Where She Builds podcast.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And it's great to connect. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm currently in Bangkok, Thailand. So
Okay.
I'm just here just before my next trip. So
Nice.
I'm just taking it easy.
Fantastic. I've never been there before. And for our listeners, if you're wondering where Coach Shandi is, she is not in this episode. So it is a solo Anna interviewing episode, the first ever. Slava gets me one-on-one. So if you're wondering where she is, she knows this is happening. I didn't do it without her. All right. So you visited a lot of countries, over 60. And it sounds like you've lost count also of how many you've actually done. So do you remember if there's a moment of travel where you decided to make it more of like a lifestyle versus just vacations?
Okay. Well, you looked at my Couchsurfing profile, so you
Yes.
probably know better how many countries I've been. I tried to update it over there, so
on there,
I'll trust you.
It says 63, just so you know. So if
Okay,
it's not
so
accurate.
well, maybe. I mean, some of them are territories. It really depends what
Mhm.
country is considered a country. So that's why, like, let's just keep it over 60.
Okay.
Yeah, and how this whole thing started is quite interesting. Way before I started traveling full time, the travel bug beat me in my late 20s. I landed this job with a company as a field engineer.
Wow.
And a field engineer with a company where their development were a little behind their marketing. So they were making products and selling them to customers, saying like, okay, we sell it first, and if it doesn't work, we'll iron it on the way. And this was exactly what was happening. So they were selling very expensive products to customers who paid a lot of money for it. And then when the problem started, they would send people like me to the customers to make sure that I can iron it out while I'm there, while the R&D back at the development center is fixing the problems. So that started my traveling actually. So I did travel for work first, and I remember saying that. I remember there was this moment where people would say, "Oh, well, what's your job?" Blah blah blah, and I would say, "Well, I work and I travel," or I would say I would travel for work. At a certain time, at a certain point, it's flipped. So I would say to people, I keep this job because it lets me travel.
Okay. I
You know
love
what I mean?
this.
Because I really started appreciating the travel and going to other places,
Yeah.
and that job let me do it because they would send me somewhere, they would pay for all the expenses because it's a work trip. And yes, I'll have to work very hard. It wasn't a leisure trip, but I'll have my weekends and I'll have my evenings and I'll get exposed to new countries, new cultures, and everything. So that's where it sort of started. You know, that's where I started kind of being interested in other places, and I haven't been fixated about going home, you know, at a certain point. So the first couple of times I went on these business trips and it was hard because I was alone and I was away from my friends, away from my family, away from everything that I knew. But at some point, whenever I would come home, I couldn't wait for the next time I would leave
You were
because it
ready
was
to
so
go
interesting.
again.
Because exactly, and I would
Yeah.
be calling my boss, and I would be like, "I've been here for 2 weeks already. Don't you have some mission in some obscure country for me that I have to go and put out some fire that our machines are causing or whatever,
Yeah.
and that sort of kind of sparked this up.
Amazing.
And yeah, I think that would be the starting point.
Very cool. I love that. Suitcase was ready for your boss. You're like, I can be at the airport in an hour. Tell me where you need me to go.
Well,
That's cool.
basically that was it, because like I was single, young, willing to travel,
Yeah.
while a lot of the other colleagues were married with families and commitments. I feel the fact that I had low commitment was
Hmm.
actually making it happen easier for
Very
me.
cool. Amazing. And then after the pandemic as well, so fast forwarding a few years, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, after the pandemic, there was a trigger point for people to make a lifestyle switch. I'm seeing either you run a marathon or you get married is kind of the joke right now, or you travel. And so I've chosen travel. Haven't quite gotten the marathon, and I'm definitely not getting married. So this shift for you also happened after the pandemic, where you dove into travel more long term. Can you speak on that a little bit?
As you mentioned, the pandemic has been a pivotal point for a lot of people, I feel, because it was very, very difficult. It was very hard, not to diminish the what we went through.
Hmm.
But coming up to the pandemic, I've been quite unhappy with a lot of the things that was going on in life. And I was looking for a change. I was trying to get another job. I was looking to move to another place. And then the pandemic happens. That kind of put a stop to everything. Eventually, I left Australia during the second lockdown. And when I was trying to come back,
Mm,
the travel restrictions became so much harder. So it became very, very improbable to come back,
yeah.
because my flights got canceled. And then when I tried to rebook them, the other ones got canceled. And then the prices went up. And the quarantine was happening. And it was all, I kept postponing it. And
Hmm.
at a certain point, my boss was like, okay, we can't have you work remotely. We need you to come back. So you gotta return to Australia. And I was like, I think I had to make a decision. I said,
Yeah.
look, it's improbable to return. So he said, well, if this is the case, then do the right thing and resign, and we'll take it from there. Because, and I was happy to do it, I guess, eventually. It was very scary. It was very scary. Again, not
Yeah.
gonna lie. It was very scary. It's never easy to leave something that is sort of secure, especially at a time like a pandemic. So it was a little bit of a leap of faith, but it was something that helped me do the step, because I wanted to do that for a long time. I wanted to have a change, and I have been thinking about traveling, and the pandemic eventually just kind of pushed me.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
say, like a lot of people, whenever I tell them my story, I get the response of, "Oh, what you did was so brave." No, it's not. Like I didn't wake up one day and decided to be a hero.
Yeah.
I I s- I fell and tumbled and fumbled and got up and dusted myself up and fell again. And eventually I just ended up in this, and I just made it made the best out of it.
Yeah,
This is where
definitely.
I am. There's nothing heroic about it.
Yeah. I can resonate with that. I've been told I'm brave as well, and I've questioned it. I've thought I don't feel brave in making a choice. It's just like you take what's in front of you and you make the best of it, and you use your
You
environment
just
and your
survive.
situation, and you survive somehow, which is interesting because
Yeah.
you have this phrase. I took it from your social media. I don't know if you know it's still up there, but real wealth is the freedom to choose what to do with the time given us in life, to us in life, perhaps. Can you explain what this means a little
Yeah.
further?
Well, I don't know who did I quote with
Mm,
this, or did I make this one up myself? Like, I don't know, but I kind of feel that, when people speak of wealth, usually people think money, right?
mhm,
So when people speak of wealth, people think money, and I think that this is not an accurate metric, because there's a saying that definitely is by someone that says a poor man is not the one that doesn't have money; it's
mm,
the one that always wants more money.
okay.
So in that term, wealth is not just about money; it's just about what you desire.
Mhm,
What are your what are your desires, and what sort of means you need in
mhm,
order to fulfill those desires? Yes, it could be money. Again, wealth can definitely be measured by money, but I believe that what is more important is the time, because you
mhm.
cannot buy time back. You can never buy time. And if you get to do what you want, what you really want with your time, that's true wealth. So if you wake up and you want to do something and you can do it, and you have the circumstances that allow you to do it, then I believe you're truly wealthy.
I agree. All right. So now we positively resigned from this job. We're now traveling. We're traveling more long term because if I'm correct, you've been traveling since that change happened. And what has surprised you most about being on this long term travel journey?
I'll tell you what, whenever people, again, ask me about this lifestyle and they hear about it, they're like, oh, you're so lucky. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, be careful what you wish for,
Yes. There's
because you
another
might just get it.
side.
And this, yeah, and this is what surprised me, because I was that person. I was, in my day job, in my life there, dreaming about, traveling somewhere in South America and doing all this kind of stuff, and basically doing what I'm doing now. And now when I'm actually doing this, I realized that it's only so great when you fantasize about it. But when you actually do this, you realize the other side of all these things, and you got to deal with it. Whenever you get what you want, you get also new problems.
Yeah, the
that you
grass
got
is
to deal with.
not always greener on the other side. This is a phrase we use.
It's not greener. It's just you find out other things, that you haven't seen from afar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because you don't work remotely in the traditional sense, or in the sense of being a digital nomad or having a remote job. And we're going to dive into what occupies some of your time in part 2 of this conversation. But what kind of habits or structure do you have living this lifestyle? What are some things that are part of your everyday life? Some things that are, non-negotiables for you? For me, coffee every day, that's a non-negotiable. So are there some things about this lifestyle, no matter what destination you're in, that keep you consistent in your structure?
Right. So that's a thank you for this question. It's actually quite interesting to think about it, because I got at first I struggled with not having a structure, because when you have a job, when you have something, it's good to have a structure. You kind of have a framework where you can exist.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have that, you kind of can get all over the place, and it kind of sometimes pulls you into the extreme. So I did struggle with with, with different issues, which is probably a topic for a whole other episode. But
Okay.
but just to say that today, in order to kind of try and make this life a little bit more sustainable, I build a little system for myself. So instead of having, like, people work 5 days a week at work and then 2 days weekend, which is like the traditional way that people mostly operate, I have a three-day system instead
Okay.
of the 5-2. So I have one day for work, which I consider work now. So I sit, I focus on my content creation or whatever it is, or whatever I need to do,
Okay.
whatever things that I need to be done, whether it's admin or actual work
Okay.
or editing or whatever it is. Then one day for exploration. So that's where I go and let's say, collect the content. So I walk around, I look for interesting things, I go explore,
Mm-hmm.
and this kind of work plus play as well. So because
The
we go
tourism
explore.
component
Yeah, that's
of
kind of like the
yeah.
tourism component that you got to go out and explore, right? And then one day of rest.
I love
So
this.
there's one day that I just don't do anything. I just chill out. I play games. I don't know. I watch videos. I do whatever I want. I don't feel stressed about doing work or doing the touristing, because both of those things, surprisingly, are becoming a stress factor. Because if I
Yep.
spend too many days resting, then I start thinking, well, I didn't do any work done, or I didn't go explore anything. I'm in this new country and I haven't done anything. So that's also becomes
Mm-hmm.
a stress factor, which I impose on myself, by the way, not by
Yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah.
So I try to keep this balance of one, one, one. So one day of work, one day of play, and one day of rest.
And is this rotating? So it goes. You're repeating this every 3 days.
I mean, now I kind of deviate from that sometimes, but
Yeah.
this is the framework. This is what I try to do. Sometimes now I let my feeling be my guide, because sometimes I feel like I'm low on curiosity, for example.
Hey friends, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick pause here and ask you to think about your health and wellness. Do you feel strong in your everyday life? Do you feel confident? Do you feel capable? If you're not an immediate yes, then go to my website, www.coachshandi.com, to learn more about how we can work one-on-one together. And now let's get back to the episode.
This is something I discovered about myself through this lifestyle, that sometimes I get low on curiosity, that I'm tired and I don't want to go and learn new things or explore new things. I just want to process whatever I already have. So I might spend 2 days working and 1 day resting. So it just becomes very flexible. You know, other times, if I'm in a place where everything is super exciting, I can go 2 days play, 1 day rest, and no work at all. And then I'll catch it up later. So, but generally speaking, this is the framework that I try. If everything works in normal sense, this is how I try. 1 day work, 1 day play, 1 day rest, and then
yeah. Where does a travel day fit into that? So if you have to change destinations, is that, and I understand it's fluctuating, but I'm very logistical. So my brain is wondering, wait, where's the travel day in that 3-day rotation? So is this where something, it just becomes like there's this other fourth day and then you try and reset?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter really, because the days, you know, because this structure is very flexible, there's no day time or week time. So I'm not depending on any other people. I don't have a boss. I don't have a company. We don't have to go to work at the same time. I don't have to work with anybody at the same time. So it doesn't really matter. So if I need to have a travel day, well, then I have a travel day.
Yeah.
And then it could be, you know, the rest day because I didn't do anything. Or while I'm traveling, it could magically turn into one of those other days, because if it's a long travel, it could be a rest day. I can just have a nap on the plane. Or I can find something interesting in the airport and shoot a video. Then it's part of the exploration. So that will be also added to my, you know, ever-growing backlog of videos that I have to edit. So
same.
so it could be anything. And what I do try to do actually now, it kind of connects to the whole content creation thing, because I try to stay consistent. Every one of those days, whether it's work day or play day or rest day, I still have at least 2 hours where I make sure that I make a post. So I have already a bunch of videos ready. I just go on the social media, I make sure that I post something, and then I go about my day, whether it's rest or whatever it may be.
Okay, very interesting. I love this. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit to you as a traveler. I looked at your couch surfing profile, which is in your Instagram bio. This is how I found it, just to clarify. And I was very impressed that you had many reviews on there. And also something that I came to discover is you love cooking and sharing food, and this is a passion point for you. So I was wondering, how do you think food connects people together? And in your experiences, how has offering to cook or offering to share a meal brought you closer in connection or community?
Well, you know, the thing about food is it's very relatable. Everybody eats, right? There's nobody that doesn't eat. And me, as a professional eater myself, I find that connecting over food has always been sort of something that you can always do. And yes, I used to cook and invite people over when I used to have a place. That would be a way to connect. And then if I stay with somebody, that's very, very common thing on couch surfing. Actually, it's not like I invented the wheel. That's like lots of people do that. So usually when you come, you gotta share something from your culture, right? You either bring a little present or you cook a dish from your culture. That's usually what hosts appreciate. So when I was doing couch surfing, that was always something to offer, that I would be like, oh, I have a bunch of dishes that I cook and I could definitely treat you to some of those. And I felt like it was always a good connection, because the host is happy. He doesn't. They don't need to cook. I feel like I paid my dues, right? Because they let me stay, and I always felt like, I can at least cook something.
Yeah.
So everyone's pleased.
Yeah.
the
Everyone's
people
bellies are
pleaser in me
full.
is kind of calmed down, that like, they like
Yeah.
me, it's okay, I fed them.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've stayed in hostels before, you're staying in a lot of these. What is one of your favorite dishes to cook? Because I personally, when you have a very limited kitchen, be it just a stove, a small fridge, limited ingredients, do you have a go-to dish that you like to make the most, is the most
Mm.
filling? What's your go-to meal?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, to be completely frank, the past few years that I've been traveling around Southeast Asia, I don't really cook at hostels because the food is just available for cheap anywhere, so there's not really need to cook. I
Gotcha.
eat at local places where I don't need to worry about that.
Mm.
But I did when I was traveling in Europe, and sometimes I want to eat something familiar. That's
Mm.
usually what I would do. And what I would make in hostels, it's quite easy. I mean, it does require a little bit of a kitchen, but I would make my mom's apple pancakes.
Oh,
Yes,
yum.
so it's very easy. It's just a
This is
little bit of
nostalgic.
flour, some yogurt, and chopped apples, with some sugar and an egg. You beat it into a batter, and then all you need is a pan and some butter. And I usually create a huge batch, which I only can eat a little bit, and then I share with other people in the hostel,
Yeah.
which also helps you make some more friends. And
Yeah.
it's super cheap because all you need is just flour and apples, and that's very, very easy.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh, that's nostalgic for me. My oma, my grandma used to make apple pancakes all the time, and this was
mm.
also her like greeting. It's making me think this is her greeting way, and always making too many, right? And it'd be a competition between us
Yeah.
kids to see how many we could eat. So
Yeah.
I love this,
That's
and
great. I love it.
people like sweets too often. So I bet you made a lot of friends this way.
Yeah, I mean, some friends, the hostel friends are just transient friends, which is fine.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
part of this life as well. You meet people along the way, but most cases you just cross path and keep walking.
Yeah, definitely. So what's in terms of also this short-term kind of interaction with someone, what's a misconception people have about you initially or ones that you've experienced as well with couch surfing perhaps?
You know, I don't really think about that anymore.
It
So
is
I don't
it's a
know.
hard thing to like it's not something you want to think about perhaps as well.
No, like I don't care. I can't really know what other people think. And the only thing we can do is just obsess over it. So if we just
Mhm.
obsess about, oh, I wonder what these people think, and they maybe think this or maybe think that, but it has nothing to do with what they really think. It's just our insecurities are being projected onto other people. It's what we think. It's not what they think. It's what we think. And I don't really think about that anymore. Maybe you can answer that question. Maybe you had a misconception about me that says now maybe change, or maybe will we change after our conversation?
I'm a pretty open person. So I was introduced to you through Shandi, and Shandi is
Mhm.
such a warm person. And I don't think Shandi would ever introduce me to someone who she didn't enjoy their energy or who they are. But I think
Right.
for me,
Fair
what has
enough.
surprised me so far in our short getting to know one another is you are just such an open book and you're so vibrant and you're just also really relaxed. Like, I love this concept of I'm not going to do things that bring me stress because you have this choice in the lifestyle, which is something I can resonate with. It is such a privilege to have that as well, but I enjoy also that you have some structure and you're trying to make the most of this lifestyle while also making it sustainable for the longer term. And I just appreciate so much that you're someone who's recognized that rest is really important because I think there's a huge misconception, especially people who backpack for 1 month. They're like, go, go, go. Every day has to be like 5 tours. We have to see everything, climb the mountain, go to the museum. And it's unrealistic because in normal life, whatever that would mean to you, you need what I describe as a Netflix day. You need a day to just chill, like find a
Mm.
couch, relax, just reset, let your nervous system come down. So I so appreciate that that's something you have come to include in your week to week or weeks aren't normal for you. So like whatever week counts as.
Because I've learned this the hard way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing
I
too,
got
right?
burned out. I
Yeah.
got burned out so many times where I was going to, even though I'm not on a month backpacking trip, which is understandable. This is again, this kind of ties into the misconception that people have of travel.
Mhm.
Because when people think about travel, for most people, it's directly connected with vacation. So you go on your annual or biannual vacation if you're lucky. And then you have limited time and you want to do bam, bam, bam. You want to do all these things and you have a big enough budget and you don't worry about the money because you're on vacation, and which is totally understandable, right? But when you look into long-term travel, this is no longer the case. You travel longer. You don't need to run as fast. And it took me some time to get off this mindset because I still wanted to do everything, right? I mean, and for me, the limitation of time was the visa, because every country I go to, there's only a limited amount of time. And I was trying to, see as many places, see as many cities. I would move every couple of days, move from place to place. I try to see everything. And then I would get to a point when I would just shut down. I would just get so burned out, and I would have to spend a whole month doing nothing just to recover. So instead of doing that, just running myself to the ground and then recovering for a whole month, because that happened to me in Vietnam, actually. I just, like, at a certain point, I just rented an apartment in Hanoi, and I didn't leave. I didn't see anything in Hanoi because I didn't want to. My curiosity was zero. I was so tired because I tried to do too much. And then I just spent the whole month chilling, watching movies, going to the supermarket, cooking, just doing the things that you would do at home, right? These are very basic things that are part of normal life. And when you are bam, 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 trying to make, so much out of your time, you forget that you just need to chill. This is like the normal life. If you were living at home, you would spend this time relaxing, right? And this is very important to people to understand that long-term travel, you have to incorporate that. Otherwise, you'll get burned out and you're not going to like it anymore.
I agree. I agree. What is one thing about travel that's given you a sense of purpose or clarity in life? This is complex. Or you've
No,
learned.
it's actually very interesting because at a certain point, I mean, again, this is a topic for a whole episode. But at a certain point, I got into exploring a bit of spirituality and ideas of Buddhism, and dabbled in nihilism a little bit, a lot of philosophies, and I realized that we don't really need to have a purpose. I mean,
Okay.
it's nice to have one. It helps us go, especially if we are in our individual
Mm,
um,
journeys.
sense, Well, no, no,
Yeah.
not in the journey, because I'm okay. I'm gonna touch on this a little bit.
Okay.
So humans are all about attachments, right?
Okay.
So we have some attachments. Some people attach to things, which is the most destructive things, actually, I think, because things are just material. But
Mhm.
some people get attached to that, and if they lose it, it's painful. It's suffering, right? Then we have relationships where we get attached to people,
Mhm.
and if we or animals or whatever, just relationships that we have with other beings. And then the third one is when we get attached to our identity or the
Mm.
purpose. And then if we are lacking purpose or we're losing some sort of thing that we saw as part of our identity, that creates suffering for us. I've been looking into these ideas and how to release myself as much as possible from these attachments. I'm totally not saying that I'm totally unattached to anything. I still exist in this world and I still have some of this thing, but I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to be less strongly attached to things like purpose, or to things like, identity, or something that I see that's defining me,
Hmm.
because things change all the time, right?
I love this idea. I think the materialism side of things, when you begin to long-term travel, I feel this is maybe the first thing that lessens, because you often have a small suitcase. And so you might be attached to less items, but you don't have. I haven't ordered at Amazon in 3 years because when I travel, it's not a thing. When I come home to Canada, Amazon is everyone is just items, items, items. And when you don't have access to it, you don't have that attachment to it anymore. And then relationships, of course, as you said, you have these very transient relationships, short-term relationships. So you learn how to let people go, which sounds maybe perhaps a bit sad, but you learn how to you just learn how to let those relationships go because it was happened in a time and place. And then the third
Yeah.
one, I'm gonna have to think on that personally a little bit, of the sense of your identity and purpose, or also keeping maybe an open mind to how your identity can change depending on your
Yeah,
experiences, perhaps.
exactly.
Yeah, very
Exactly. Because
interesting.
we are very, very dynamic. You know, imagine that, I at a certain point I started viewing life as a video game, right?
Oh, okay.
It's a metaphor. Like, so, you start a game and you choose a character and you can play that character for a while.
Huh.
You like any video games, you level up, you add you different
Eat the mushrooms. Did it?
outfits. You well, and when you eat the mushrooms, that can open up other things. But
Yes.
that's again another topic for a very long
I was
conversation.
meaning the Mario
But
mushroom, but I get you.
that's the same mushroom. By
True,
the way.
true. Power up.
Power up.
It's true.
Exactly. But the point is that when you realize that you don't have to play the same character all the time. And if you change your character, we're always so scared. This is why people are so afraid of death, for example, because when we think about death, we think about the character that we are
Mm.
so is going to stop existing, right? I mean, yes, the body is just the vessel. The body will is just a side thing, right? But what is actually scared is our identity. And sometimes losing your identity or changing your identity can be as scary as death, because like you're going to be losing who you are, right? Well,
Mm.
a lot of people talk about this. So anyway, again, this could be a whole topic.
Yeah, this is
we
fascinating.
can we
Okay.
can move on.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, choose different
Mm,
characters. I love this. Represent
mm,
different people. Okay, we're gonna lighten the mood as we get to the end of this conversation. So when I met with Shandi to talk about who we were gonna have, she brought up you, and she's like, yeah, and he drinks beers all over the world and like loves to taste the local beers, and this is his whole thing. And then when we talked to you ahead of time, you're like, oh, not anymore. So can you maybe describe this shift for us of what your
yeah.
enjoyment was in tasting beers, and what beer consumption is now?
Yeah, well, it's actually surprisingly ties directly to the conversation, the topic before, because that
Yes,
used to be part of my identity, right?
right.
That used to be part of my identity when I was living in Melbourne. The drinking culture in Australia is very, very rampant. Like it's the national sport, basically. Everybody is just doing
The
that.
arms going up and down.
And yeah, there's the pints and everything, and it's part of every social interaction. And this was part of my life. This is where I became a functional alcoholic. And this was also a nice hobby that I developed. I met this guy one day, this American dude on couchsurfing, who was traveling the world and trying different beers. That was his thing. He was really into like all these craft beers. And I met him on a couchsurfing event in Brisbane. And then we went to a bar one day and he was trying all these crazy things while I was just drinking the typical thing, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, what is all this stuff? So he introduced me to this. And and then I started doing this as well because I was like, oh, this is a neat topic. It's a very neat hobby. You have an app where you can track your beers, and there's
Yeah.
whole communities around it. And it started becoming very popular in Australia for a while. So this was like a very interesting thing that was happening. Now it's falling. Like most of the craft breweries are bankrupt because lots of people after the pandemic stopped drinking, and it's became ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
So these are also the reasons why I stopped drinking, because when on my first year, when this was still a very pivotal, not pivotal, very central part of my identity, I was traveling in the UK, and the UK had a very, very vivid craft scene.
Mhm.
And I was couch surfing, I was like saving on everything, but then I would go and buy cans of beer for £12. One beer would be like £12, and then I would spend hundreds of pounds drinking all these amazing, interesting beers. But everything else I would just cut down. So
So
this
fair.
was the thing that was I didn't kind of I was like, at least I'm doing that. But eventually, well, I can't be spending all this money on this. Plus, I once I left Australia and I wasn't around all this drinking all the time, it's also diminished over time. And on top of that, at a certain point, it stopped serving me.
Yeah.
You know, alcohol consumption is like people consume alcohol for a reason, right? So it's either for social reasons, either for it helps them deal with some issues that they don't have any other ways to deal with, or they haven't found any other tools to deal with. And eventually, it was also the case for me, both socially and also was helping me to numb things down. But I stopped using it for social reasons because I wasn't around those people anymore. And also I gained some tools to deal with my issues in a healthier way.
So this is great. And just to wrap us up, what is your new? I feel like I love this idea of the video game character. So I feel like your new character, you have a new hobby. What is it?
Well, the new hobby isn't the one that's replacing my alcohol addiction.
Okay. No, it's
The
never
new
one
hobby-
for one, but
No, it's separate, but it is replacing another addiction. So as being very present in the space of content creation, I I consumed a lot of content on TikTok and Instagram. I kept scrolling, and it's not a secret that it's not very healthy for your mental health. And at a certain point, I was okay. I can't really continue like this. So I didn't look for something, but I stopped doing that, and I started playing online chess instead. And now,
yeah.
that 10 minutes before bed that I play chess is the best 3 hours of my day.
You can't play a chess game in 10 minutes. I know nothing about chess, but I understand it takes a little bit of time, right? So,
Well, I play Blitz. Blitz is 3 minutes. Each game is
whoa.
3 minutes, and you got to be really quick. But
Okay.
then after one and another one, and like you go to bed, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna play a few games, and then 3 hours later, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and you're still stuck on it, and I really need to sleep, and so this is a lot of my night, to be honest.
Oh, I love this. Okay, Slava, thank you so much for sharing about who you are. And we're going to have part 2 of a conversation where we're going to talk about content creation and a little bit more about how you travel. But if folks want to connect
Okay.
with you online, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on all platforms. My handle is EarthNomadSlava. You can see the spelling in the caption probably. And if you're interested in food as well, I also started kind of a little bit of a side project where I only focus on the stuff that I eat, because food is very, very important. I don't only like cooking. Now that I don't get to cook much, I replace the discovering beers with discovering food in different countries. So I have another channel which is called Don't Travel Hungry, and that's
Ooh,
on Instagram. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Don't travel hungry. Okay, we will put all those into the show notes. Thank you so much for talking with myself and on behalf of Shandi as well. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Amazing. All right, we're the Where She Builds podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, wherever else you listen to your podcast. And I am Anna, and your travel friend Anna, and we will see you in the next episode. Ciao for now.